Hey, Lori, is that good?
Yes, Patrick, that sounds better.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm turning off your camera so it doesn't look like maybe I should get a picture.
What's the new number 25-0006?
Hello there.
I'm ready when you are, Judge.
How's it going?
Good.
AI at the bottom. You're seeing the sound is really out.
See those names. And when you do, all you see is you. I don't see all those names. So
If the meeting has started in the room, those of us online cannot hear what's being said in the room. Am I the only one online that can't hear what's going on in the room?
I also can't hear.
I can't hear as well.
I think they just haven't unmuted on their end.
I can't hear.
I can't hear either.
I can't either.
I can't hear it.
For the people online, are you able to hear now?
Did someone in the room just ask if we could hear?
Yes,
Now we can hear you. Yes.
now you can hear. Okay, thank you.
Not
Thanks.
good
So
quality.
you may have to and I'm sorry for my background noise, but in the room, you may have to restate what you've already said.
Okay, so we had one comment from Trina Jellison, and now we have Ms. Catherine Young provide public comment, and please go ahead.
He testified that emissions reduction should not be a factor in the approval of the sale, and that no link exists between the sale and any increase in emissions. I counter that emissions reduction should be a factor. Natural gas extraction to its use, methane is leaked, and it is many times more potent at trapping heat. Thus, methane is needed for climate change. One of the populations most vulnerable to the harmful effects of climate change are children.
I'm sorry, ma'am. This is a car reporter. You need to slow down and get closer to the microphone.
We have a court reporter. So yeah, you could just.
Children are not little adults. Due to their physiology and development, they are particularly vulnerable to the environmental hazards caused by climate change. Children are at a higher risk for heat-related illness, ranging from cramps to life-threatening heat stroke, respiratory illness due to intensified pollen allergy season and exposure to toxins and wildfire smoke, exposure to infectious diseases from viruses to insect-borne illnesses, food and water insecurity due to altered crop growth and drought, and higher carbon dioxide can reduce the nutritional content of plants. Mental health, disease, and cognitive dysfunction. Exposure to higher temperatures is associated with worsened cognitive function and educational achievement, particularly for children of color. Ecological disasters cause emotional trauma, and I would recommend that you take a look at some of the headlines from the Perth County flooding in July. The impact of climate change on a child's health is multifaceted cost to the care population. As to the link between the sale and emissions, one of the main drivers for natural gas use is industrial activity. New Mexico has more than 20 data centers and more companies providing New Mexico as a location for centers. More centers mean higher natural gas demand and production, which cascade to higher methane concentrations. Additionally, I'm not aware of any state legislation that requires microgrids to meet renewable energy targets. Not unrelatedly, the mission of PRC is to provide safe and reliable utilities at just rates based on the state's legal, economic, environmental, and social policies. Government and Congress should overarching policy regarding children's investment in their and their betterment and a betterment of their future. In conclusion, this sale is bad for New Mexicans, especially for children who have enough roadblocks to success. As the members of the PRC, you have a unique opportunity to broaden the policy of investment in children on this transition. Thank you.
For your comments and for your patience, we got our technology in order. Next, in person, we have Andrew Mayorga. And Peter Florence.
Right. Closer to the microphone, please.
Yeah, I would try to speak clearly and loudly. My name is Peter Lorenz, and I currently serve as the board chair of the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, where we represent the diverse business community in the Greater Albuquerque metro area. I'm also the CEO of Unirec, and Unirec is the national market leader for solar mounting products, and We manufacture many of our products right here in the heart of Albuquerque. I'm here today to express the Chamber's strong support for Bernard Capital Partners' proposed acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company. A couple of thoughts I'd like to share with you. First one, reliable and affordable energy keeps our local economy running. At UNREC, we count on steady natural gas service to power our operations, and so do many other businesses across New Mexico. New Mexico Gas Company has earned our trust over the years. We're confident that this proposed acquisition will make that partnership even stronger moving forward. Bernard Capital Partners is well suited to support New Mexico Gas Company in continuing its successful operations. The firm has a proven history of strategic investment in infrastructure and energy services companies. And with their investments, they provide long-term capital and demonstrate a strong commitment to sustainable growth, efficient operation, and excellent customer services. This is a kind of long-term investment that is exactly the long-term investment that New Mexico Gas Company needs, and we address the challenges of an aging infrastructure and meet the growing energy demands of places like UNREC. I also want to talk about another point here. There are sometimes misconceptions among those unfamiliar with private equity investors such as Bernard Capital Partners. At UNREC, we have been owned by private equity investors since 2016, and their partnership has been instrumental to our success. They supported my leadership team and me in strengthening UNREC, enhancing the value we deliver to our customers across the country, and ensure our employees here, our local employees here, share in that success. Bernard Capital Partners' proposal, when you look at it, reflects that same approach. They are committed to maintaining local operations and jobs across New Mexico, retaining the existing management team to ensure continuity, and establishing an independent board composed primarily of New Mexican community and business leaders. Their investment promises to further strengthen the company and its contribution to our communities. So the Chamber recognizes that your duty is to ensure acquisitions serve in the public interest, and we believe that this proposal meets that standard. On behalf of the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce and our business community, I urge you to approve Bernard Capital Partners' acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Jerry Cole.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Terry Cole, and I serve as president and CEO of the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce. The chamber represents member businesses throughout the Albuquerque metropolitan area, ranging from small family-owned enterprises to major employers. Our mission is to champion a thriving business environment that creates jobs, drives economic growth, and enhances the quality of life for all New Mexicans. Peter Lorenz, our chair, shared a point of view as the chairman of the board, and I want to share a point of view as well, but from our entire membership base. I am here today to express the Chamber's strong support for Bernard Capital Partners' proposed acquisition of the New Mexico Gas Company. Reliable, affordable energy is the backbone of our economy. Our member businesses depend on stable natural gas service for their operations, and our residents rely on it to heat their homes and power their lives. New Mexico Gas Company has been a trusted provider for decades, and we believe this proposed acquisition will strengthen the foundation for the future. Bernard Capital Partners brings significant experience in utility management and infrastructure investment. Their track record demonstrates a commitment to excellence, customer service, and long-term capital investment. Exactly what New Mexico needs as we face the challenges of aging infrastructure and growing energy demands. Several aspects of this proposal gives us confidence. Bernard Capital Partners has committed to maintaining local operations and employment. Their plans for infrastructure modernization will enhance system reliability and safety. And their experience in regulated markets shows they understand the importance of working collaboratively with regulators, customers, and communities. From an economic development perspective, a well-capitalized utility partner is essential for attracting new businesses and supporting existing growth. This acquisition positions New Mexico Gas Company to meet current demands and support future economic development. The chamber recognizes that your role is to ensure any acquisition serves the public interest. We believe this proposal does exactly that, providing financial stability, operational expertise, and a commitment to investment that will benefit ratepayers and our economy for years to come. On behalf of the Greater Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, we respectfully urge the Commission to approve Bernhard Capital Partners' acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mark?
Hello, I'm Martin Rowell, New Mexico Gas Company customer. Bernhard Capital Partners is primarily private equity firm, not a qualified operator of a statewide natural gas utility. Senior Managing Director at BCP was CEO of the Petronova Carbon Capture Project. It's a facility that was shut down after just 3 years. And in those years, it was offline more than a third of the time. A high-profile failure and something that did not inspire confidence in the reliability and competence of the firm. Regulated utilities require specialized long-term operational expertise, not investment firm tactics geared towards short-term profits. BCP expects substantial return on its more than $1 billion investment, a return New Mexico ratepayers will be on the hook for. A recent acquisition in Louisiana raises more concern. The Entergy gas assets deal was approved with little public debate or transparency. And regulators there okayed the deal only after more than $200,000 was contributed to their campaign. I'm from Louisiana, and that's pretty standard business practice there. I hope it's not something that goes on here. But it shows what the private company will do to get around public transparency. Bernhard Capital Partners has not demonstrated the operational experience, transparency, or track record needed to run a vital utility. I respectfully urge the Commission to reject the acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by an out-of-state private equity firm. Thank you for your consideration and commitment to protecting New Mexico ratepayers.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Once again, want to offer to anybody who really needs to go. Who's in person. Thank you all for your cooperation and patience too. I'm going to turn to Patrick. Patrick, if you wouldn't mind managing Vive's online comments, and then we'll switch back to in person.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With Sharon Sharp, if you are ready to provide comment, go ahead. Online.
Hello, can you hear me? Hi, my name is Sharon. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sharon, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Hi, my name is Sharon Sharp, and I'm a member of the Rio Grande Indivisible. I'm also a 30-year customer of New Mexico Gas, and I am here to urge the PRC to vote no on the BCP's application to buy our utility. The reason why is I believe that we need to focus on the applicable standard for this decision. Does it have customer benefits? If we keep focusing on this, it will be obvious the answer is no. So let's look at what's been proposed as a benefit. It's been proposed that there will be a rate credit, but this is only going to be tiny and only for a short time, 1 year. That does not appear to be a customer benefit. After 1 year, customers will have to pay millions for claimed under recoveries. It's hard to find that to be a customer benefit. And thirdly, BCP is willing to overpay for New Mexico Gas. Why is that? Well, it's a private equity company and it has one goal, and it isn't to provide reliable gas to customers. It's to make money, a lot of money for its investors. And how is it going to do that with this overpayment price? It's going to have to raise rates as soon as that year is over. And this is obviously not a customer benefit. Fourthly, BCP, as people have mentioned, has very little track record in running a utility and very little experience. So this is asking New Mexico customers to become guinea pigs to mistakes. That is an obvious no customer benefit. Now, the people who've studied this have said that BCP has a record of violations and health hazards in activities that it has been involved in. How could anyone with a straight face say that this is a public benefit? So buying this, by buying the New Mexico Gas Company, we are going to be the ones who suffer, the customers. The risk to reliability, safety, and customer service are very scary. We cannot do this. We cannot allow this, and I urge you to vote no on this acquisition. Thank you very much.
Minutes, Ernie Sidabaka, online.
Yes, thank you. I hope you can hear me. My name is Ernie Sidabaka. I'm the president and CEO of the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Our mission, we're organized to promote economic development, to enhance economic opportunities, and to provide business and workforce education for the Hispanic and small business community in Albuquerque and New Mexico, and actually beyond. We actually have about 1,400 members throughout New Mexico, and it is because of them that we're here today to represent a yes vote, to say we are very supportive of this acquisition by Bernhard Capital Partners. We have 1,400 members. I have submitted a letter and actually written an op-ed to the Journal, but I've submitted a letter that contains names of about 50 other folks that have signed petitions in support of this throughout the state. In addition to that, we've had a lot of outreach activity in October that we have approximately 10,000 folks that are clicking onto our outreach and our social media activities on this. I want to say today is peculiar. I am totally in support with everything that the Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce said earlier, the two people that spoke earlier. I'm not going to go over those things, but I want to tell you this. What Bernhard Capital Partners has said is contrary to what some of the speakers have said, because they actually are going to keep the management of New Mexico Gas Company intact. So if we're worried about people that don't know how to run utilities, it's no different than it is today. In addition to that, they are going to bring somewhere like 30 to 40 jobs that are outside New Mexico, major important corporate jobs, into Albuquerque. They've also committed to a bill reduction as spoken earlier, but more importantly, today I saw in the news that in the United States, there was over $30 billion of increases in utilities throughout the nation in 2025. They have said that they are not going to have an increase at least through 2028. In addition to that, they're going to be very involved throughout many nonprofits throughout New Mexico. And these are things that aren't currently available at this time. So I want to say that from my experience, I used to be a utility executive. I had a 37-year career as a utility person and about 20 years as an executive. It is important to have financially sound owners of a company, especially for the infrastructure needed for energy. So we are in complete support with the acquisition by Bernard Capital Partners. Thank you.
Next, they have Elizabeth Holland. Go ahead and provide your comment.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to provide this public comment. I'm Elizabeth Holland. I'm a resident of New Mexico, of Santa Fe, and a product of New Mexico where I spent my childhood. I'm a New Mexico Gas Company customer, and I'm the Director of Research for Island Power and a Distinguished Fellow, non-resident at the Institute for Strategy, Resilience and Security at the University College London. I've been involved in climate science and an author of multiple Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports, including the 2007 report, to which the Nobel Prize was awarded. I do not support Bernard Capital Partners' acquisition of New Mexico Gas. I urge the Public Regulation Commission to vote no on the acquisition. It is important that the utility operating the ever-important New Mexico Gas provide effective service to supply New Mexico residents with reliable, cost-effective service to the communities it serves, and stands by its commitment to transparency. BCP's acquisition is not worth the risk. It does not have the experience in New Mexico or even elsewhere to provide the services that New Mexico economy depends upon. What assurances from the analyses that have been done do we have that BCP will keep its word? It failed the test of delivering, its senior managing director failed the test of delivering the CO2 capture that it promised, and it fails the test of transparency. I urge the PRC to vote no on this acquisition. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Camilla Feivelman. Go ahead and comment.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. Can you see me? Okay.
You're breaking up, ma'am.
Okay. We can figure out a way to fix that. Can you hear it now?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Camilla Feibelman. I'm the director of the Sierra Club's Rio Grande chapter. We, our organization, are opposed to this acquisition. I'll start with just the basic question of what we've already learned about private equity investment here in New Mexico. On housing and hospitals, we've seen a devastating impact to meeting our community's basic services. This particular private equity firm just doesn't have the experience to be acquiring our state's largest utility and manage it in the way that ensures safe, reliable, and affordable service. We need the owners of our public utilities to be good stewards of New Mexico's precious resources and be committed to the law and climate policies of the state. And that may mean a more conservative and a prudent approach to expansion that truly protects ratepayers from the risk of future stranded assets. BCP's goal appears to be only to aggressively grow the system and then sell it after only 10 years, charging customers more for basic gas service in the meantime to increase its profits. Bernhard Capital Partners just closed earlier this year on the purchase of its first 2 gas utilities. So that means extremely limited experience running utilities. We've heard about the failure on carbon capture and sequestration, and even worse, the management of a water utility company that ended up with poop in people's drinking water. Now you'll hear my dog and my son in the background. We're on the way home from school at 4:30 in the afternoon on a weekday. And I'm wondering to myself, what are we thinking investing in this way in an expansion to gas? Here we are as a family doing our very best to curb the worst impacts of climate change. We've shifted to an electric vehicle, saving ourselves money, but also interior air quality. My stepdaughter experiences severe asthma, so we have removed our gas inside our home because we can't stand to put her at that kind of risk. So I asked the members of the Public Regulation Commission, what is this about? Who is this for? And if I were a member of a Chamber of Commerce, I would be asking myself, how on earth could I justify supporting the sellout of a New Mexico company to an equity firm that has nothing to do with New Mexico? So for our kids, for our climate, our ratepayers, and our local businesses, no to this buyout, no to this sellout. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Okay. Nancy Galloway.
Okay, can you hear me?
Little loud.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, here. Yes.
Okay. BCP has virtually no gas utility experience. The only other utility that BCP has run is a 20,000 person water infrastructure utility in Louisiana, where their Department of Environmental Quality cited them for failing to maintain and operate their facility. Regulators, as Camilla said, found feces in their water. This is the type of gross failure that too often results from inexperience. As a private equity firm, BCP would not be required to report its financial status, operational details, or business risks to the SEC, Security Exchange Commission. We've already seen BCP's lack of transparency. They won't even divulge their business history in order to gain approval from the PRC. BCP refuses to reveal who their investors are, and they take the position that the public isn't entitled to know about their company's violations, penalties, and fines. New Mexicans deserve transparency. If BCP is allowed to buy New Mexico Gas Company, I see no benefit to the public. I anticipate bad service and skyrocketing rates. New Mexico's citizens deserve better. I urge you to not approve the acquisition.
To in person, and they realize that some people might have signed up coming in not intending to provide public comment. So if that's you, you can just go ahead and tell me. Also, as a reminder, this public comment session is intended for the public, so not comments from parties or anybody who's affiliated with a party. Those parties have the ability to participate in the hearing. So you can just, if you don't intend to provide public comment, or if you are affiliated with a party or a party, you can just let me know and then move on to the next person instead. Also, I'm relying here on your handwriting, so forgive me. Michael Swearingen. Pretty good.
Thank you. Can you hear? Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Swearingen.
And I'm against this Bernhard Capital Partners, a private equity firm buying New Mexico Gas. Unlike most corporations and companies that have to reveal a lot about them, private equity does not. They do not have to say who their investors are. If they have any violations or fines, they don't have to release that to us. So we're letting people we don't really know take over a public utility. I'm mostly opposed to this based on my opposition to private equity firms. They're in our lives already in a big way. And I'm going to give 3 different sectors examples of what happens. So private equity firms that own rental properties. It's common for rents to go from $1,400 a month to $2,500 a month. And to make more return on investment, they lower the services. So crummier service, more expensive. Private equity firms that own hospitals. They're 7% to 16% more expensive. They have understaffed emergency rooms, badly equipped maternity wards, and a 25% increase in hospital-caused complications. Finally, private equity firms that own nursing homes. The nursing home usually takes on a lot more debt with one of these private equity firms, and now patient care gets less money and less help. Patients die at a 10% higher rate. Understaffing leads to neglect. Residents may have to wait days to get a bath or hours to use the toilet. Of course, cost cutting comes first to maximize profit. Patient care comes second. Bottom line, private equity firms like Bernhard Capital Partners always make things worse. They're not interested in caring for people, and they need to stay out of public energy companies and rental properties and hospitals and nursing homes. Thank you.
I think you can. Yeah. Richard Nemple.
Hello. My name is Richard Campbell. I'm retired high school teacher. One of the things I learned as a teacher was to listen. And I'm listening right now to the people going before me. And I'm not trusting the word reliable as to describe VCP. They seem to have, I don't know if we call it for Halloween, skeletons and closets, but things that are not beholden to us. And as I'm understanding, private equity companies don't have to share. They can at least limit what knowledge we have of their business. So I'm as a New Mexico Gas Company customer and as a member of Indivisible out there, I'd like to say that I think we need a little more information, or at least just oppose this acquisition. Thank you.
Joe Langley.
My name is Joe Muttley. I'm a nearby resident of Albuquerque, where I retired 11 years ago in New York City. Sitting there listening, I was also listening to what was being presented, and I discovered the same split in the country exists right here in this room. Amazing, and wonder why everything was all good or all bad, and what happens to the reality in between. And why couldn't the business community have an interest in company with experience, their own experience with 20,000 customers, and there was feces in the water. So how can it be all good? Somebody is not telling themselves the truth for some reason. I remember my days working in Louisiana on the oil rigs, and it was a short job, but after they told me to take the garbage from that day and throw it over the side. So I'm just wondering, is it possible that this company does not have the interests of the people of Albuquerque in mind, and that making money is not going to heal this country, it's not going to help anyone? And who is supporting this? What are they getting out of it? I don't understand. Thank you.
By comment, you could just tell me so, but Anna Garcia. Next we have Roger Midden.
Good afternoon. Members. Chair to the chair and to the members of the commission. My name is Roger McNew. I have been a gas company customer for 45 years in this community. I rise in opposition to the Bernard Capital Partners application to New Mexico Gas Company due to the failure to comply with transparency required for this proposal. It appears to be data private. Nevertheless, approval of this company's application without considering its operational history could impact the Mexico Gas Company in a negative way. We support the points listed by intervener. I support this. I just found out I can't speak for the party. I support the points listed by the intervener, New Energy Economy, that BCP provide full and comprehensive disclosure of the facts required by law. I am especially concerned about the habitual disregard for federal and state regulations and past penalties that have been levied against BCP-owned companies. Specifically, I wish to highlight the details about labor, safety, and the environmental penalties imposed as a result of violations EPA, OSHA, and state regulators have uncovered. This application to acquire our local natural gas provider must be carefully considered. Approval will result in customers bearing the increased costs of energy consumption and loss of jobs. Enabling this private equity firm to engulf and devour New Mexico Gas Company will leave a weakened and inefficient public utility in its wake. There is no lack of evidence reviewing past takeovers such as this one being proposed that this is anything but being incentivized and driven by corporate greed. New Mexico must stand up to corporate takeovers and protect its citizens' interests by democratizing energy, services, and adopting measures that give ownership and control of public service providers to its citizens. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sorry, I recognize her, so let's say, Georgia, Sandra, Ed.
Good afternoon, my name is Saida Namaste, and thank you to the PRC for listening and making this important decision. I'm a mother of Mexico Gas customer of 19 years, I'm also a member of labor union, and I'm very concerned and I'm opposed to this purchase because of their labor standards of this company, the violations of the workers, of the environment, the report track record in Louisiana that has been mentioned, like the species of the water, the lack of experience, and also the lack of transparency that Roger just spoke about their financial, what they're hiding from us possibly as customers. So I really appreciate you taking this very seriously, your role as the PRC decision, and weighing the fact that they're not disclosing information. And look at their actual track record. I hear the temperate farmers talking about what they say. To quote Cesar Chavez, talk is cheap. We have to look at their actions. They don't have the track record and they're hiding the rankings. So please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next we have Sally Peters.
I just wanted to be on record to say, as an Albuquerque citizen, indivisible member, that I say no to the buyout for more reasons than everybody else spoke about. Thank you very much for your deep consideration.
Okay, next we'll do Ricky Palmer.
Hello, my name is Ricky Palmer. I'm a member of Invisible Albuquerque and Rio Grande Municipal. I am here to comment on Bernard Capital Partners' lack of experience in operating public utilities. I cite directly from the BCP website, quote, deep industry experience is crucial in the field of critical infrastructure services, unquote. As you are no doubt aware, BCP is a private equity investment company. Its experience in operating gas utilities dates all the way back to this past summer. That's right, July of 2025, 3 months ago. It purchased gas utilities servicing Baton Rouge and New Orleans via Delta Utilities, which is a BCP subsidiary. Running a utility service by an investment firm is like asking an ATM to run a hospital. It might handle the money, but it doesn't understand the care, complexity, or the community needs involved. I ask you, does it really make sense to have an investment firm operate our natural gas utility? This services over 500,000 residents with only 3 months experience. One more thing, as I got ready to come to this meeting, I checked BCP's website and went on their portfolio page. And on that page is right there, New Mexico Gas and Company, as if it already is part of their portfolio. That disturbs me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody really need to go, and just speaking from experience with training kids to be good things, They're gonna skip a line I think other people would not mind. Okay, Patrick, let's move to online comments. Would you please manage 5 of those? Okay, on Zoom, I have Rhiannon Samuel. Go ahead and provide your comment.
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Rhiannon Samuel, and I serve as Executive Director of NAIOP New Mexico, representing the commercial real estate industry, an industry deeply tied to infrastructure, energy reliability, and community investment. NAIOP is in strong support of the proposed acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by Bernard Capital Partners. This transaction represents an extraordinary investment in New Mexico's economic future, one that keeps decision-making local, empowers employees, and delivers nearly $87 million in community benefits that otherwise would not occur. This transaction brings a number of customer benefits. It also brings jobs, workforce training, and economic development funding that will ripple across New Mexico, creating 220 new job opportunities and nearly $40 million in economic activity. And importantly, the gas company's headquarters, leadership, and employees will remain right here in New Mexico, ensuring that local decision-making and continuity of service. This acquisition sends a clear signal that New Mexico is worth investing in. Our state can attract long-term, responsible capital that strengthens local infrastructure, supports families, and creates opportunity. It's not just a utility transaction. It's a vote of confidence in New Mexico's people and really in New Mexico's potential. NAIOP New Mexico urges your approval. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. Next, we have Carl Peterson to go ahead and comment.
One moment, please. I'd like to pull up my members of the PRC. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on the BCP acquisition of the NM Gas. My name is Carl Peterson, and I am a member of Indivisible Albuquerque. I oppose the sale of NM Gas to BCP. BCP has limited experience in the natural gas industry. Our public gas system is a critical infrastructure. There are 2 types of catastrophic events for these systems. First, there is the explosive potential for an air-gas mixture. These are rare occurrences in the United States. The second catastrophic event is related to customer reliance on gas for both heat and electric power. In Texas, gas supplied the fuel for about 58% of the electrical generation capability. When faced with a cold snap, this combined system of natural gas and electrical power failed. When this supply of gas was curtailed, the total energy system was sent into a massive electrical power interruption that ended in the deaths of many elderly customers as they froze in their homes. Federal documents show that the failure of the gas companies to reliably supply fuel to the electrical providers magnified the damage done to the state. The issue for Texas was that their system was not robust. It did not have redundancy necessary between the electrical system and the gas system to prevent a massive power outage that killed over 200 people. My point is the gas system's design must be redundant and networks must be designed to continue to operate when failures occur. Private equity firms are known for their cost cutting, employee reductions, and asset liquidation, the exact opposite of what is required for a safe and reliable gas company. The model is not compatible with public gas systems. If BCP is allowed to buy NM Gas, there is a high probability that our state will be exposed to a future tragedy due to the private equity business model. Shareholders of BCP will demand BCP management execute this model and show early profits. And this demand of BCP management will respond to satisfy these investors and at the same time jeopardize public safety. Sale of NM Gas to BCP is not a prudent decision. Thank you for this time.
Thank you. Next, we have Susan Ellenbogen on Zoom. Go ahead with your comment.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Honorable Commissioners, my name is Susan Ellenbogen, and I'm a concerned homeowner, customer, and ratepayer of New Mexico Gas Company. I'm here today to voice my strong opposition to the proposed acquisition of the New Mexico Gas Company by the private equity firm Bernhard Capital Partners. History has shown that putting essential public services into the hands of profit-driven investment firms is a dangerous gamble that New Mexicans cannot afford to lose. A private equity firm's core purpose is not to provide reliable, affordable gas service, but to maximize returns for its investors. This motive is fundamentally at odds with the long-term public interest. Private equity firms have a history of saddling companies with debt, deferring essential infrastructure maintenance, and ultimately raising rates on captive customers. We've seen this extractive playbook before, and the results are predictable and harmful. Ratepayers face the prospect of paying huge profits to the owners or dealing with the bankrupt utility provider if the high-risk leverage fails. A prime example is the private equity buyout of Minnesota Power, where an administrative law judge raised concerns about the potential for rate increases and the risk to customers, and recommended denying the acquisition. A utility commission staff analysis echoed this, stating that for investors, it was a win-win, but for ratepayers, it was a lose-lose proposition. For New Mexico, a state with many low-income households, placing control of an essential service like natural gas in the hands of a profit-driven firm risks leaving our most vulnerable citizens without essential power as rates are raised to satisfy distant investors. Please do not allow a private equity firm to come into our state with its extractive playbook, burdening our families with higher costs and risking the stability of our essential gas service. Thank you for your consideration.
Next on Zoom, Megan De La Rosa. Go ahead with your comment. Megan De La Rosa, are you there on Zoom? Okay, we'll get back to you. Jonathan Juarez.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Jonathan, go ahead with your comment.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to provide comment. My name is Jonathan Juarez. I'm from the Pueblos of Laguna and Isleta, and I'm here this evening as a New Mexico Gas Company customer. I'm here to urge you to reject the Bernhard Capital Partners' proposed buyout of New Mexico Gas Company. This deal is nothing short of a corporate land grab, a hostile takeover of our public utility by a private equity firm with a record of failure, corruption, and exploitation. BCP has never successfully operated a major gas utility. Their ventures in Louisiana and Mississippi are already failing. Customers there report skyrocketing bills, billing errors, and outages. The same executives behind this deal blew through a $300 million public fund on a failed carbon capture project in Texas. And now they want to play the same games here with our infrastructure, our money, and ultimately lives of New Mexicans. So let me be clear, this isn't about improving service or reliability. It's about wringing profits out of a public necessity. As a private equity firm, BCP doesn't answer to the public. They answer to investors, and they refuse to even disclose who those investors are. That's not accountability. And what they're calling benefits are honestly an insult to New Mexicans. A $15 million rate credit amounts to about $2 a month for a year, while a so-called rate freeze hides $56 million in deferred costs waiting to hit our bills later. That's not relief. This deal fails the PRC's own public interest test. It fails on financial stability, it fails on public benefits, and it fails on reliability. And if approved, it would hand control of a core New Mexico utility to out-of-state billionaires who will treat it like a cash cow until we're bled dry. New Mexicans deserve energy that's reliable, affordable, and publicly accountable, not owned by a Wall Street fund that's already proven it can't be trusted. So I'm asking you to stand with the people who keep this state running, not with the out-of-state investors trying to buy us out. Reject this deal, keep our utilities public, and keep them in the hands of New Mexicans. Thank you.
And next on Zoom, Megan De La Rosa.
Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Megan De La Rosa with the Kirtland Partnership Committee. Our mission is to support, preserve, and grow Kirtland, which has over 100 mission partners that make up the Kirtland National Security Complex, operations vital to our nation's defense. To grow these missions and compete for future national security investments, New Mexico must have reliable, affordable, and resilient utility infrastructure. That's why we believe this acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company is good for consumers and essential for the state's future. This proposal ensures the same workforce and leadership and continued oversight by this commission. It also delivers long overdue modernization at no cost to consumers, strengthening reliability, cybersecurity, and emergency readiness. Bernhardt Capital is committed to long-term in-state ownership and local decision-making. They're not leaving New Mexico, they're investing in it. For consumers, economic growth, energy reliability, and national security, this transaction moves New Mexico forward. We respectfully urge the Commission's approval. Thank you.
And we'll move back to in-person comments. Leandra Schuler.
Leandra Schuler.
Sure.
So my name is Leandra Schuler, and I am opposed to it. I am a resident, and New Mexico Gas is our company. As a New Mexican, I hear that the people who actually will be paying for everything are existent. We don't want it. We don't want private equity holding our utilities captive from us. I hear that only the people who are working and will benefit seems to be pushing this. I hope we can recognize that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read my what I have to say. New Mexico is one of the poorest states in the union. We have issues where all our money goes outside the state to wealthy people that profit off of our people and give nothing back. Private equity has shown itself in many areas to be untrustworthy with practices like loading up communities with debt while running off with profits and leaving Americans behind to suffer in their wake. They have already done this to Mexican healthcare system and have begun doing this to utilities in other states. They will take out massive loans against our utilities, run off with the money, then force New Mexican families to pay their loans off on top of the rates we will be paying for our electricity. Our families will not see a dime of the profits from the power of these centers. A private equity will ensure all profit remains in their own hands. They did this in Minnesota already. They have seen multiple double-digit rate hikes over the last couple of years, all just so rich private equity can get richer. Why should we in New Mexico condemn our families with the same fate? Why should anyone trust private equity when they refuse to be held accountable to the people for their actions? There is no oversight for private equity. If our utility gets sold, it's all control over what they will do with it, which inevitably leads to worse outcomes for our people.
We can instead take control of our own utilities by allowing New Mexicans to buy the utility and keep the money within the community and state. That way, New Mexico and New Mexico families can profit and stop letting money leak out of New Mexico. I would like most people that I talk to don't know that this has been happening, and no one that is going to be paying for this seems like it. Thank you.
Next, we have Debbie Nelson. Okay, let's try Michael Castro.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. Try as brief as possible. My name is Michael Policastro. I'm an engineer by training and a concerned customer, lifelong New Mexico's gas utility. I'm here today to urge this commission to deny the approval of the proposed acquisition of New Mexico Gas by Bernholt Capital Partners. BCP has an extremely limited experience, as we've been hearing over and over again. While they are operating and have been operating with industrial energy services, they've only recently begun acquiring. To this end, there are only two subsidiaries that I think are even remotely comparable. The first we've already heard about, Delta Utilities. They've only had it since July. As an engineer, 3 months is not a track record. That can't tell us anything about how they operate. Second is the National Water Infrastructure. We've also heard about them. They bought it in 2020 and it took them 2 years before the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality found the company failed to properly operate and maintain a wastewater treatment facility. That's not my opinion. That's a quote from that agency. They failed to properly operate or maintain the wastewater facility for 20,000, 25,000 people. That's orders of magnitude less dangerous, less complicated, and less or smaller in scope than New Mexico Gas. They can't run a water facility. They can't run New Mexico Gas. This occurred under PCB's stewardship. This mismanagement included the overflow of wastewater, including human sewage, out of discharge pipe into a receiving stream, where it was released further into the watershed. This is a terrible record as far as the ability to run a simple utility. Managing and regulating a gas utility requires sustained investment, strict adherence to public service obligations, and compliance with safety and regulatory standards. History and the utility track record of PCB raises serious concerns about cost cutting, deferred maintenance, and pressure on regulators for favorable rate changes, all of which could harm customers, not benefit us. As an engineer, I have a couple of catchphrases I like to live by. One is trust but verify. Another is bring the receipts. And the third one is identify risk, mitigate risk, and avoid risk at all costs. I see no clear benefit to New Mexico customers from this proposed sale. A negligible token monthly payment to customers over a single year isn't even a benefit. Worse, it demonstrates PCB's lack of long-term thinking and long-term commitment. Thank you very much. I appreciate you hearing my remarks today, and I further urge you all to deny this acquisition in the strongest of possible terms. And one last note, I have here the state of Louisiana's settlement agreement against that national water utility, and I'd like this to be entered into the record as evidence of their inability to functionally run the utility. Thank you very much.
Next we have Sandra Stolberg.
Hi, my name is Sandra Stolberg, and thank you so much for taking my comments today. And while this looks like a big gut, no, I'm sure you're okay, so don't worry.
I am here to present a petition from Rising Ground. And it has 574 signatures, along with hundreds of comments that are in opposition to this acquisition. And then just from this petition, I'm going to read one thing, and then that will be the end of my comments. In terms of your regulatory oversight, private equity firms are not required to disclose their financials, operational details, or investor structures. This secrecy makes it nearly impossible for regulators to hold them accountable, especially in cases involving affiliate transactions across their sprawling corporate portfolios. Therefore, in this petition, we are asking the PRC to deny the proposed acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by Bernhard Capital Partners. We're asking to reject any future attempts by private equity firms such as Blackstone or BCP to acquire or control New Mexico's energy utilities. And we are asking you to affirm the principle that as essential services like gas and electricity must be managed in the public interest and not for private enrichment. Thank you so much. And who do I give this to?
Okay, so take another in-person comment. And if you have arrived recently and did not sign in here for public comments, we could please go ahead and sign in. Oh, yes, okay, yes. Please state your name.
I cannot hear you.
My name is Jacques Steffen, and I am a dispatch. So many of the things that matter to us have been destroyed by private equity. My vet care, I can't trust it because of private equity firms. They come up with plans, they've even been shown to be adding in things that they don't need, turning it short and crisis. And we bought for animals. People can't even afford to have them like we used to. And that's sad. Like, these people don't care about you, our animals. You hear about people getting, dialysis. And these companies are rushing them through. They're killing people. They don't care. All they care about is money. Even your restaurants, once they start to be on the private market, quality goes down, you pay more. Nothing will be different here. And we are opposed. I'm opposed to it. And my husband, that's me, and our family. And I just want us to be smart, so we're not fine for the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and we'll move on to Eric Contreras.
Hi, and thank you so much. My name is Eric Contreras, and I am the Director of Community and Business Development at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. To the honorable members of the New Mexico Public Regulation Commission, and on behalf of the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, we represent thousands of New Mexico businesses and families. We express strong support for the proposed acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by the Bernhard Capital Partners. Affordable, reliable energy is essential to our way of life. From heating our homes in winter to cooking family meals and keeping small business running. Natural gas has long been part of New Mexico's culture and economy, and this partnership helps keep it that way. This merger is more than a business deal. It is a commitment to protect household budgets, preserve local jobs, and invest in our communities. Together, NMGC and BCP will deliver nearly 87 million in direct benefits, including 22.4 million in bill credits, a rate freeze through 2028, 7 million for low income assistance, and 10 million for community workforce development, while ensuring the leadership and decision making remain right here in New Mexico. In total, this represents 87 million in direct benefits for New Mexico customers, workers, and communities, a true reinvestment in our people and the future. Beyond the economic benefits, the widespread community response has been overwhelmingly positive. Public engagement data from recent outreach campaigns reflect this strong support. In October alone, more than 10,000 New Mexicans engaged with online outreach efforts, with 7,000 link clicks specifically connected to the NMGC merger petition and over 11,000 social interactions, including reactions, comments, and shares. These numbers show that New Mexicans care deeply about protecting affordable energy and ensure local critical infrastructure. We've also included letters for supporters across the state who signed petitions backing this. The voices of families, small business, and community members across the state are clear. They want to keep energy costs reasonable, they want to protect local jobs, and they want to see continued investments in New Mexico communities. As an organization dedicated to advancing economic opportunity, we believe that the transaction strengthens New Mexico's energy independence and protects affordability for working families, and it supports continued investment in the communities we serve. We respectfully urge the Public Regulation Commission to approve this merger and allow New Mexico Gas Company and Bernard Capital Partners to move forward in building stronger and more affordable energy and future for all of the New Mexicans. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for managing your comments to under 3 minutes. Appreciate that. That way, we'll have everybody to provide the comments. Patrick, can you please turn to online and manage the comments here?
On Zoom, we have Natalie Weiss. Go ahead with your comment.
Yes, am I okay to start my comment? Okay, my name is Natalie Weiss, and I am here to urge the committee to deny this acquisition. Looking at the benefits of this acquisition, it is not going to benefit New Mexicans. The menial credit that they're looking to give fellow New Mexicans amounts to about a $27 credit per person. Us New Mexicans care about the state's economical impact and the long run. We care about gas prices to us, the customers, and ensuring that our natural gas resources can continue benefiting local New Mexicans. On October 10th, Ryan Shell testified to New Mexico that New Mexico Gas Company gave a commitment to contribute funds to economic development, and they were accepted. I would like to point out that this situation is completely different. We are switching to a private equity ownership, and requirements for financial disclosures and transparency are not the same for publicly owned utilities. New Mexico Gas Company has already shown their motive to not disclose everything under NYSE, and this will get worse with a private company ownership. The entire rebuttals have continued to show that there's going to be a lack of transparency on both sides. This is going to result in customers holding the financial burden. When this company is willing to pay $1.25 billion to acquire New Mexico Gas Company, that's plenty enough to offset debts and costs for the reasonable request that's been asked throughout this hearing. We're already looking at another 7% increase this year. Once this 1-year freeze period is over, there's a worry about another drastic price increase on fellow New Mexicans. Privately owned utility companies move towards personal profit for them, and it does not align with New Mexicans receiving essential utility services at the lowest reasonable cost. Throughout this hearing, there's been a continuous lack of transparency and honest formulas supplied in prior rebuttals, and they do not give us any peace of mind in this acquisition. There has been several formulas used and stated in prior acquisitions that these are not common formulas used, so they can manipulate numbers to prove their points correct. Bernard's acquisition of utilities in the Deep South and attempts of rapidly out-branching raises huge red flags about intentions and goes against what's been stated in prior interviews with local news stations about being for New Mexico residents. They are here to monopolize our state and our utilities, and I urge the committee to say no.
And next on Zoom, Diana Brent, go ahead with the comment.
Hi, thank you for allowing us to have this discussion. I am concerned about our young people. With housing costs in our state, especially Santa Fe, food costs, utilities. This is a big gamble we would be taking because every time one of these essential resources goes up in price, it makes our city and our state less livable for the blood of our communities, our young people. I ask the PRC to protect us from predatory investors. Thank you.
Missy Courier.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Missy Courier, and I am with the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association. NMOGA represents over 230 member companies and thousands of jobs throughout the state. Our members support affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy production in the Permian and San Juan basins. We support BCP in their efforts to retain New Mexicans' jobs, infrastructure development and improvement, and equitable and consistent rate structures. It is clear they are making investments now that will benefit the future of New Mexico for years to come as we work to make our state a better place to live, build and diversify our economy, and play. Thank you for your consideration, Commissioners, and we thank BCP for their efforts now and into the future.
Next on Zoom, Ishwari Zalibu. I apologize if I butchered that. Go
Solahub,
ahead.
thank you. Hi, I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm not with Chamber of Commerce. I'm not with a real estate organization. I'm not with any organization or corporation. I'm just a New Mexican. I think that gas companies should be providing gas services. They should not be focusing on making money. So BCP wants to take over New Mexico's gas utility, yet as has been said so many times this afternoon, they have very little experience offering or operating utilities. They have several months of ownership of 2 gas utilities. As previously mentioned, their senior managing director, Jeffrey Baudier, has a dubious track record. He was previously CEO of Petra Nova, LLC, a carbon capture facility. That facility was shut down after 4 years due to its failure to capture the CO2 promised. In addition, they lost over $310 million of state and federal funds that had been invested in the project. That's a major failure under his watch. This has already been mentioned as well. Because they're a private equity firm, BCP is not subject to SEC recording requirements, reporting on financial status, operational details, business risks, all things that protect the public from corporate misconduct. Speaking of corporate misconduct, BCP has refused to reveal who their investors are and has also asserted that the public is not entitled to know about their company's background and history regarding violations, penalties, and fines. All these things have already been said. The people are speaking right here. National agencies and state regulators from New York to Massachusetts to Louisiana have penalized BCP-owned companies, including National Water Infrastructure, Railworks in Massachusetts, Epic Piping, a global company, for, and I quote, once again, failure to properly maintain and operate facilities, cheating workers out of pay, and failing to abide by safety standards meant to protect human health and environment. So law and precedent clearly requires that any company seeking to acquire and operate a utility in New Mexico must provide fulsome and comprehensive responses to discovery. So the public, the parties, and the PRC can accurately determine whether they are fit to own an essential service. It doesn't appear that BCP is the kind of firm that can be counted on to provide low-cost, reliable service to New Mexico gas companies, 550,000 residential, commercial, and industrial customers. This is not what they do. They make money. So between their lack of experience and inability to provide a track record of actual service, I think one thing is obvious. Permitting BCP to buy out New Mexico Gas Company is unnecessarily risky and makes no sense. Please deny the application. Thank you so much.
Next on Zoom, Zoe Kraft.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Zoe Kraft, and I am here on behalf of EarthCare, a community-based organization on the south side of Santa Fe with thousands of members and supporters. And I am here today to urge you to reject Bernard Capital Partners' proposal to buy the New Mexico Gas Company. For years, EarthCare has supported efforts to advance an energy democracy here in New Mexico, one that is controlled by and accountable to the people. And Bernard Capital Partners' attempt to buy out the company is the exact opposite. This company has no proven experience operating major utilities, but what they do have is a record of failed projects, serious corruption concerns, and a major lack of transparency. BCP fails to meet the Public Regulation Commission's 6-factor public interest test, which requires assurance that service quality won't decline and customers will benefit from the transaction. BCP executives have poured $200,000 into campaign donations to the regulators in Louisiana who approved their last deal, and the company's senior managing director wasted over $300 million in public funds on a failed carbon capture project. And to make matters worse, as a private equity firm, BCP would not be required to report its financial status, operational details, or business risks to the Securities and Exchange Commission, meaning that the company would lack transparency and accountability for violations and misconduct. Our utilities here in New Mexico should serve the people. So I have to ask, will the public interest be better served by handing control over to a less experienced, less financially qualified owner from out of state that has no reason to prioritize affordability and well-being for our communities? The 550,000 New Mexicans who depend on services from the New Mexico Gas Company deserve a reliable, affordable, and transparent energy system, not a risky corporate takeover that hands control over to an out-of-state private equity management firm and Wall Street investors hoping to make a quick return. I urge you to reject this proposal, and thank you so much.
Your comments, so we'll turn back to in-person comments. Do we have very?
Judge, can we take a 10-minute break?
Yes, we can take a break, so is 5 minutes sufficient, or would you like a 10-minute break? You know, let's do 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll be back in 10 minutes at 5:40.
I just signed up for the attendance. And I'll make sure it's in.
Was that you who signed in?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was like, looking, I'm like.
I saw you make sense.
I'm the one that's got like. Yes. Right. Oh, but.
Okay. So see, we're back, so we'll go ahead and get started.
The lights. Thank you.
Please go ahead and
It's
state your lead.
Oh, enjoying your break, like I did. My name is Muriel Carpenter. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners, for this opportunity. I'm a member of the Environmental Justice Caucus of the Democratic Party of New Mexico. But I'm also a 35-year customer of New Mexico Gas. And I have to say, I really like it when I turn the knob on my stove and the flame comes up. And I thank them for that. However, you know, these times are changing. And with all due respect, I can't wait till I get rid of my gas stove. Because I really don't want to be part of transmitting that gas around our state, as I think our legislature has recognized. Bernard Capital Partners' proposal to buy New Mexico Gas should be denied. Due to the company's past practices detrimental to labor and to the environment in other states, and due to its incomplete responses to discovery and its late changes to its application. Private equity firms such as BCP aim to make quick profits to transfer wealth to shareholders. Quick is the opposite of careful. High profitability is antithetical to spending money for safety and climate resilience. Does BCP care about the headaches and vomiting of those children who on the way to school pass gas wells? Do they think about how much of our water goes into fracking and how fracking is related to earthquakes? I don't think so. They're an investment firm. BCP has not responded fully to the discovery in this procedure. If it hasn't been transparent in this procedure, how do we expect it to be transparent if it was ever to do business in the state? New Mexico, under our Energy Transition Act and other legislation, seeks to lessen our use of natural gas and its attendant transmission lines. Putting a mega private equity firm in charge of making money from fossil fuel at this time seems to be pretty bad timing. Does BCP mention in its application how it will try to foster our environmental legislation? I don't think so. A purchase by BCP at this time is directly counter to the PRC's ability to consider the vast economic potential of democratization of perhaps state ownership of our natural resources. If that happened, with your help, we could have an A1 educational system, incredible healthcare service, and primo services. If we didn't have to pay those middlemen corporate shareholders their profits, but we could get the profits from our immense resources. We're lucky. I think we're the second sunniest state, the 11th windiest state, and we have, we call geothermal crossing in our entire state. It's about time we really have to think about how to get the benefits from our resources directly to us. We respect, and I respect, the expertise of the PRC, the work of our governor, our legislature, the opinion of our attorney general, and only ask that the PRC fully perform its duty to do the best for the people today, but also put into their thinking caps how our people could even do better in the future. Businesses won't protect us. Democratic government has to protect us. Thank you.
Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. And also our court reporter has to please state and spell the. Apologies for not providing that instruction before. Next, we have Stephen Smith.
Can I say his name? Yes, someone. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Steve Smith. I'm with Indivisible Albuquerque and Rio Grande Indivisible. I volunteer with the PNM Good Neighbor Fund at the Rio Grande Food Project, and I see how low income people are struggling with expenses, especially in these inflationary times. For many people, large utility bills, especially in the summer and the winter months, may be catastrophic for their finances. I understand that BCE has no real experience in running a utility, no transparency in their operations, will make cuts that will reduce services and pursue raising rates with the final goal of selling the company for profit. I really find it hard to believe that they're going to keep rates low. They have no regard for the communities that they serve. It's been proven. I think public companies should be public and not privatized. Do we want thousands of New Mexicans living without electricity or gas in extreme heat and freezing weather so some national company can make their investors richer at our expense? Please vote no on this proposition. Thank you.
Next, we have Allison Riley.
Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Allison Riley. The spelling is first name A-L-I-S-O-N, last name R-I-L-E-Y. I serve as the Vice President of Government Relations and Policy for the New Mexico Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber supports the acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by Bernhard Capital Partners. This transaction aligns with our priorities of economic stability, workforce retention, and responsible local investment. BCP has made clear and measurable commitments that protect both employees and consumers. The assurance is that all New Mexico Gas Company employees and local board will be retained with compensation and benefits that are the same or better than what they currently receive, and that demonstrates their commitment to the community. Maintaining all regional offices and bringing key services back to New Mexico, creating 20 new in-state jobs. This reflects the kind of localized investment that strengthens our economy. Equally important are the direct benefits to customers and communities. Over $20 million in rate credits and no rate increases before 2028. $7 million in expanded bill assistance for those who need it. $10 million dedicated to economic development and $5 million dedicated to workforce development, ensuring New Mexicans have opportunities in this changing energy economy. The continuation of New Mexico Gas Company's charitable giving underscores that this is not just a financial transaction, but an investment that people and communities that make New Mexico strong. This acquisition represents responsible private investment that maintains reliability, safeguards jobs, and delivers meaningful economic benefits across the state. And therefore, we urge your approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll do Mona Porter, then Casey DeRoe, and then Kevin Silverman, and we can switch over to so Mona.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Many of you know me as someone who has worked on behalf of low-income people for Prosperity Works for more than 30 years. I am now retired, and I speak to you today instead as a member of the community. One of the things that I am concerned about, in addition to all of those things that have been spoken to earlier in this evening, is the understanding of natural gas as an essential commodity. An essential commodity that many, up to 55% of New Mexicans can't afford. We have been working for years providing energy efficiency retrofits to low-income households. And we know, and I think you know, that they suffer a huge energy burden. Energy burden is that percentage of annual income that they each pay for our household energy. And in our work of more than 4,000 homes, we have found 70% of these paying in excess of 30% of their annual incomes. These are our lowest income folks. We can't afford to lose one dime anywhere, and yet they're staying that much with their home energy, which is essential commodity. So, a rate credit of $339 a month for a year is totally meaningless. What is meaningful is energy efficiency retrofits as required by the Efficient Use of Energy Act. And in that act, actually, our gas company right now is the best utility that we have in terms of the percentage of their energy efficiency budget that they dedicate to low-income groups. It has made a huge difference in people's lives, not only reducing costs and emissions, but also improving the health, safety, and comfort of their homes. And so I am here to ask you not to approve this, and for all the reasons you already heard, and also for our major concern for Mexico's climate and climate goals. And if we look at this and consider how this would be profitable for the folks who are there, it's going to be line extensions. And line extensions are antithetical to New Mexico climate goals. So I'm asking you to think about people over profit and the needs of New Mexicans who suffer every day because of the lack of economic security, with a big contributor being their utility costs. Thank you.
Okay, QC DeRoe. Please, all your name.
I'm Casey Nevada, CASEY, DERAAD. I am the incoming chair of the board of directors of this Auto Chamber of Commerce. You've heard from my colleagues earlier today, but I am also an engineer, and I am the CEO of New Space Nexus, which is an organization representing hundreds of space companies here in Mexico and the nation. I want to recommend to you, commissioners, for the approval of this acquisition. This isn't just a corporate transaction. It is a commitment to New Mexicans. And I heard today this broad swath painting of the evils of private equity investment. And I can tell you, with the companies I work with, I can give many, many examples of the positive financial backing the private equity supporting an industry. So I don't think that can be the only reason why you want to pick this. BCP has a commitment to protect household budgets, preserve local jobs, and invest in our communities for the long haul. Here are some of the benefits to New Mexicans. There's 22.4 million in direct bill credits to customers. No rate increases until at least 2028, saving customers up to 40 million. 7 million in financial assistance for low-income households.
hundreds of local jobs protected and new ones created, with all the New Mexico Gas Company employees guaranteed continued employment. Headquarters leadership and decision-making state in New Mexico. Modernized systems and upgraded infrastructure will be invested in to ensure dependable, safe service. The 10 million will be invested in community and economic development, including renewable energy and workforce training programs. These commitments total over 87 billion in direct benefits to New Mexico. The BCP team has decades of experience operating regulated utilities across the U.S. They currently own 5 natural gas LDCs and serve about the same number as the New Mexico Gas Company. I believe New Mexico is a state with an immense potential and view this investment as a contribution to furthering that growth. I am excited that the New Mexico Gas Company will continue operating the same name, leadership, workforce, and local offices, maintaining a locally driven company ensuring uninterrupted service. This transaction will bring significant benefits to customers, employees, and the communities that the New Mexico Gas Company serves, including myself and my family. Thank you.
Thank you. Adam Silverman. Turn to online.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Adam Silverman, ADAM. I'm here actually representing Indiana, New Mexico. I'm from the 25 to work president. Some things to say, but I just wanted to address the commission. I've heard a lot of things today about private equity being bad and gas being bad. And, you know, I think that's great. I think everybody's entitled to their opinions. But here's one problem. The company that they are trying to buy doesn't want to be here. Excuse me. And what that means is we are going to have a company that doesn't want to invest in their infrastructure. The most expensive part of our gas bills is actually the transmission. We have oceans of this stuff all over our state. It's the aging infrastructure that has to be maintained. Okay. The other thing I'm concerned with, I'm proud 60 Minutes watcher, there are hackers that are coming through and busting through these grids. And if we have a company that's not willing to invest, we are going to get hacked and we're going to have our gas shut off. They could disrupt pipelines. We have no idea where that goes. So if you don't like private equity, fine. If you don't like gas, totally fine. It's your personal choice. But if you have an aging infrastructure, that a company that doesn't want to do New Mexico isn't going to pay to maintain, our bills will go up. By actually approving this sale, we have a company who's ready to spend $1.25 billion and bring even more money into our state. The other thing that appalls me is the comments about the people at the gas company. They're not changing management. They're not changing their staff. This company, I have friends that work at this company. And so it's sort of appalling to me to people to say that, you know, things are going to get worse. How can it get worse if we keep all of the same people? Those are New Mexican. I'm a New Mexican. I have generations of family. And if we're not growing, we're dying. So right now, this is about people, place, time. Right now, we need to send a sign outside of this room that we're willing to let companies come in, whether it's private or it's public or it's something else. They need to spend money on this infrastructure or we're going to die. The other thing I need to point out, this is a regulatory body. We don't need a Securities and Exchange Commission. This body has the power to ask Bernard for whatever they want, and Bernard should give it to you because that is how good partnerships work. So in my closing minutes, we need to approve this. I strongly support it. As a citizen of New Mexico, as someone who wants to keep their rates low, and as someone who wants to see this place grow, we need to marry modern progress with traditional values. The modern progress is money and capital, and the traditional values of the people that work at the New Mexico Gas Company that continue to do their best every day for the citizens. Thank you.
On Zoom, we have Sharon Argenbright. You can provide your comment.
Yes, hello, commissioners, PRC. My name is Sharon Argenbright. I'm a private citizen, Santa Fe County resident over 30 years, a parent, a grandparent, a nurse, almost 50 years, United States Air Force retired. Please deny this acquisition request. Who is putting up money for Bernard Capital Partners? Sorry to repeat, but for emphasis, we trust with verification. If we cannot verify, we cannot trust, period. Essentially, BCP is asking for the no reporting plan. For emphasis again, they would be not required to file with the Security and Exchange Commission, which was created after the Great Depression and established to protect against corporate misconduct. This greed is the reason our country is seriously ill. Who are the billionaires behind this request of New Mexicans? They offer us 10 years of service. Why would we want to invest in our resources for just 10 years? New Mexicans are capable of deciding their own long-term sustainable 7-generation plan. I have firsthand experience with a private equity firm in New Mexico. I worked before, during, and after the corporate takeover. You don't want to know, but it was downhill and fast. New Mexicans don't trust this would be good for us. I've heard about the big utility wannabe cabal in Mississippi. Let's see how Delta Utility works out. Not saying it's Delta. It's been a hostile takeover by big industry for AI. New Mexicans are watching, and we have a track record of customer benefits to prove it. We have had it with the stripping industries. We are done with colonization. Whose resources? Our resources. PRC, it's the public against billionaires. Do the right thing. Please deny this acquisition, and thank you.
It's on Zoom, Joanne Emerson. Go ahead and make your comment.
Thank you. Like others on this comment forum tonight, I am in opposition to BCP's acquisition of New Mexico Gas. Again, with a private equity firm, people keep telling us how they're not the boogeyman, but I am here to say that we need accountability, we need complete transparency, and we need to have all of the information before something as critical as our gas company is sold by an outside interest. We do not know who their investors are, which is like having a stranger have control of your bank account. It's ridiculous. They have hyperbolic and nonsensical claims on their applications, as if they are the last word in running a gas company. Words like trade secrets and confidential, which is silly. Excuse me, I've changed my notes a billion times since I've been listening. I'll just finish up and say there's no scenario in which billionaires care about the members of the public. We have seen this played out many, many times across our country just recently. The infusion of money into New Mexico mentioned tonight by various chambers of commerce will be, in fact, repaid by increased cost for every single customer in the future. If BCP had New Mexico's best interest in heart, perhaps they will reorganize into a B Corp. Thank you, commissioners, for listening to our concerns tonight.
So on Zoom, Esperanza chairs.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead with your comment.
Give me one moment. Good evening, Chair and members of the committee. Mi nombre es Esperanza Chaides. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm here on behalf of Yucca Youth United for Climate Crisis Action, and we oppose the buyout of our community's resources. I'm here today to urge you to keep New Mexico Gas Company in the hands of New Mexicans, and I reject Burhard Capital Partners' proposed purchase of the New Mexico Gas Company. Burhard Capital Partners Company does not have the experience necessary to operate a major utility like New Mexico's gas company, as we've already heard. Their only equivalent purchase in Louisiana and Mississippi remains in a startup phase, and their customer feedback has been less than sufficient to make us trust that this is the best option for New Mexico customers. Why should we trust a company with little to no experience with an energy system that more than 500,000 New Mexicans depend on? I don't think we should. BCP's CEO has a track record on other projects that is even more disappointed. We've already heard about the coal-fired power plant and carbon capture facility, which lost the public $310 million in state and public funds that were invested into that project. And the proposal before us today locks us into a 10-year agreement with this kind of corporate oversight. Can we trust this kind of CEO to ensure low-cost, reliable gas services to New Mexico's for the next 10 years? I think this track record says no. The financial picture also makes no sense. BCP is promising a $15 million rebate while setting up accounting tricks to bill customers $56 million later. They are promising a rate freeze until the end of 2027, but then offset this freeze with a regulatory asset that allows BCP to make customers pay in the future, despite this alleged rate freeze. Who actually pays and takes the financial risk in this convoluted financial proposal? Customers do. The commission should reject the BCP's acquisition proposal. New Mexico's utilities should ultimately serve our people, not private investors from out of the state. We want public energy services that are democratic, transparent, and sensible. Rejecting this proposed acquisition is one step towards that vision. Today, young people will witness and decide whether or not this public regulation commission serves the people or corporate interests. Thank you.
That's on Zoom.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Daniel Pritchard, and I live in Taos, as do many customers of the New Mexico Gas Company. I'm an engineer and on the executive board of Renewable Taos, a local all-volunteer organization that promotes renewable energy and economic development. Renewable Taos provides energy efficiency seminars and advocates for more solar and batteries to meet the needs of the local residents in a clean, renewable manner. I'm on the call today because I object to this buyout, and I have these concerns. Number one, BCP has not shown sufficient interest in the customers and the climate emergency. We've only heard about how little money they're going to rebate to customers. There's been no discussion about improving the energy efficiency of customers' homes and businesses, and thus reducing the reliance on costly and polluting fossil resources, including methane gas. The gas company is a tremendous source of highly toxic produced water, and BCP seems to have little regard for our New Mexico environment. My guess is that BCP will have zero interest in reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. Number two, this important energy utility with customers across New Mexico will simply be another extractive corporation. They may be investing in New Mexico, but their profits will be leaving New Mexico, thus providing zero benefit to the citizens of this state. We have this situation with the gas company today, and the PRC should be looking at solutions to keep profits in New Mexico for the public benefit of New Mexicans. This is just common sense. Will the PRC act in favor of the New Mexican public? Third item, the New Mexico state permanent funds now total nearly $68 billion. Perhaps the state would invest in the gas company and roll those profits back into the state, benefiting all of us and keeping our rates low that way. Thank you for your attention, and I urge you to vote no on this acquisition.
On Zoom, Glenn Whipple. Wait for Dr. Comment. Glenn Whipple, are you there? Then we'll move on. Jillian Ellis, running the comment.
I'm sorry, did you call my name?
Yes,
Gillian?
Jillian.
Okay. Thank you for taking my comment. I just wanted to say that it's pretty clear from the what I've read about this company is that it's not gonna know what to do. It's not designed for this particular job. It makes absolutely no sense to have them be in charge of our gas company. And I do not think that the minuscule compensations will actually make a difference to us as ratepayers. It's pretty clear that this is another one of those overarching absorption things, and it makes me very suspicious about how this even got on the table in the first place. So yeah, it's pretty rare for large corporations to give a damn about the little guy or poor people. And New Mexico has a lot of little guys and poor people, but it has some wealthy folks too. But let's face it, it's not going to go back to being as good as it was. Like I've already noticed with the payment portal that they've started using now, that it's completely wonky and it's not easy to use. I really hope that the New Mexico folks in charge will vote against this. It's going to be bad for us. That much is very certain. It looks like in Louisiana, BCP has not done right for the people there. And I know it won't be right here if they take over. Thank you for listening to me. I wish you guys a good meeting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we move back to in-person comments. Admin Lee. Do we have Barbara Rothus? Please spell your name.
My name is Barbara Rothus.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I could barely hear you.
Okay, we'll just have to raise my voice. My name is Barbara Rothus. The spelling is BarbaraGrothus. I am a small landlord with numerous gas company accounts and have been a gas company customer for 50 years. Investors call me regularly telling me they would like to purchase my properties. I'm currently keeping numerous households who do not regularly pay rent off the street. I'm one person. It's not that hard to give back.
These people are not here to give us anything back. I feel like we are being gaslit by these people who are here with this scam story about how this investment company is going to be good for us. New Mexico has a $53.4 billion permanent fund. This purchase for $1.25 billion is barely 2% of our permanent fund. We expel the permanent funds, we disperse permanent funds in the amounts of less than 5% overall in our permanent funds to help run the state of New Mexico, to provide education and do all the things that come from the extractive, largely from the extractive industries. Last year, according to monetary research here, LIHEAP, how do you say it, LIHEAP, the fund that helps people pay their bills, their utility bills, paid out $30 million last year. Those kinds of monies should be put in the pockets of New Mexicans. We should own this utility. We should purchase it. If it's for sale, even if it's not even for sale, we don't actually even know that they really want to sell this. But we could probably get it for a bargain price of $1.25 billion. It would barely touch the permanent fund. And there we could reinvest, we could make sure we are investing in alternative structures, gas and electric, wind, solar, all of it. We could be doing better for the people of New Mexico if we bought the utility. That's what I hope you will really seriously consider. If these people are coming here thinking it's going to be so profitable, certainly they are not doing it out of the goodness of their pockets. If they can make money, we can make money. We should put that money back in our own pockets. Please say no to this bad scheme. It's nonsensical. These people here, these business people, I don't know what's in it for them, but obviously something is in it for them that's not in it for us. Thank you for your time. Appreciate your hearing this tonight.
Lynn Gibbon. Do we have Jake Wallstead? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, my name is Lynn, White-N-N-E, and I also am wanting you to know this proposition. I'm against the acquisition. Equity firms are in for profit and not to provide services. Why else would they be trying to acquire these services? There's no transparency, no accountability required on their part. The token return promised to New Mexicans is a carrot to lead us over the cliff. In my mind, it is analogous to having a surplus in our national budget and it being disposed of indiscriminately and then us finding that we needed the money later. The equity firms will need to keep investors happy, and it's no secret how that happens. New Mexicans are about to be suffering the worst financial situation in ages. Healthcare is about to skyrocket due to the ACA no longer being funded. And the national budget, the GOP is pushing. We're living in an ever-increasing cost of living. The numbers they are promising make no sense, and they are not rational by this company. Unless we hit 2028 and our rates at that point will skyrocket to make up for their losses over the past few years that they have. Actions speak louder than words. The track record speaks for itself. don't harm the Mexicans by waiting for this acquisition. And lastly, I'm concerned about why this is even occurring anyway. What is it that we're not being told, or what information is not being helpful for us to? And that's it, please vote no.
Walt Stuckman,
Just don't leave it be.
okay. Erica Walters. Melissa Bowman. The same spelling.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Melissa, I'm an MELISSAHOMANE. I'm sorry, I fell in love with New Mexico when I lived out here in the 1970s. As a cook, I cooked many years for gas. I retired out here 11 years ago. I just found out about this meeting. More New Mexican gas companies, customers need to know about this before you make your decisions, please. My personal experience was my first rental in Albuquerque when I retired. A gas leak. I got sick, but I did not die. The gas technician was very, very good. Thank goodness. He had a difficult time changing the ancient Pittsburgh's meter, but he did it. A few years later, a home did blow up. I think it was on Princeton. And a few years ago, recently, a house blew up in August. Natural gas is dangerous and not something to simply make money by private equity firms. I agree with that gentleman earlier about infrastructure, but not with his reason. From my experience, I believe natural gas infrastructure in Albuquerque has some serious issues. Please, Commissioners, proceed with caution. I do not need to be blown up because of cost-cutting measures by a factoring firm. And thank you very much for your time. Please get this word out. It's so serious.
Thank you. Next, Nicholas W.
Well, we expect you to now,
Yeah,
and
please.
you really want to know.
Yeah, all 13 letters here.
Nicholas Wax. Nicholas Waxenberger. Spelled Nicholas Waxenberger, spelled WECHSELVERGER. We had that doing the whole relations, it's been very difficult. So, first of all, I want to thank you, commissioners, very much for staying awake, first of all, and going through this grueling process. It is not difficult. I mean, and my brain cells are feeding all the way through it. So how do we make decisions for the public? What are the criteria? A few things I really enjoyed hearing here. One was aging infrastructure. That is a problem. We do need the funds to support them. Otherwise, that will crumble. No doubt about it. And on the other side, I don't know. We really like the phrase, if we cannot verify, we cannot trust. I think that really nails it very much, because this isn't just about, it is about absolute developing our economy, security, safety for the residents, jobs, all that, absolutely.
But I think trust is a profound thing to consider when you weigh your decision. So anecdotally, I would say the feedback from the general customers so far against far outweigh the support for the acquisition. That's something to consider, but that's anecdotal. But I think really we want to measure things, and we want to measure things that are not smoke and mirrors. You know, one person brought out a great point. Well, yeah, what was that figure? You know, $20 credit per person. If the rates go up to $200 or $300 in any given month, what's $20? And it's just not that. It's just not losing your home or being out on the street. It's just the terror, the fear, the emotional difficulties for people. So, and I think I'm seeing that here tonight, displayed. So absolutely, utilities are vital to national security and economic development, and no argument with that. Yet return on investment can be a shiny object to grab on the merry-go-round of money. BCC proposal strikes me as a little bit of a trust me statement. Yeah, trust me. I don't want to show you the books. I don't want to show you anything. This is a private corporation. So I would say, I would offer, the evidence that strikes a chord for real trust is contractual language that measures rates, in this particular case, as affordability for customers, represented as data that directs your decisions. And that's in contractual language. And I would offer one phrase, an affordability benchmark, if you will. Furthermore, you may consider that there are no competitors to naturally hold utility prices stable. It's really a monopoly right here. So, if we want to look at the market as something that balances out, you have to have competitors. Therefore, your invaluable service to hold money considerations at reasonable pay. I'm sorry. Uh-oh. Well, all right. Thank you. I apologize. So, I'm sorry if I was grandstanding, but if we consider our customers labeled as consumers, they can become the consumer. And I wish you would consider that in your weighing of this issue. So decisions by the dollar are risk by the locust in the proverbial plague. And thank you for allowing me to blab on your own.
Okay, next we'll take Rachel Coleman. We can go to online. Yes.
Hi, I actually wasn't aware that I signed up, but I came because I really care. And my simple input, I organized with the Environmental Justice Caucus of the Democratic Party of New Mexico. I fully agree with EJC's position on this. I don't see a benefit. I see a lot of risk. I fully agree with everyone who's underlining that lack of transparency. It's a hugely risky factor here. I fully agree with the previous commenter who said, you all are the ones who are here to protect us in a monopolistic, risky situation. I hope you will do that. Thank you.
So I will move on to the online comments. Okay, on Zoom, Glenn Whipple. Go ahead and provide your comment.
Yeah, good evening, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak both in the afternoon and the evening, because I'm sure some people can't be one or the other times. I'm Glenn Weichel. I'm speaking on behalf of Third Act New Mexico and in opposition of the acquisition of New Mexico Gas by BCP. Commissioners, please don't beat us to the wolves. Private equity corporations are turning our healthcare facilities and our rental housing into near monopolies with excessive market power. They buy competitors in an industry, concentrate market power, and use their wealth and power to influence politicians to remove and skirt regulation. This process was in fact transparent and obvious during the recent presidential election, and the payback from this large-scale corruption is ongoing and also transparent. That payback includes removing regulations to steer us out of the climate emergency. Without continuing to reduce the burning of natural gas, the future of modern civilization is in big trouble. Yet this is the path that industry lobbies for. Once they control most of the market, private equity owners squeeze their internal operations and their customers for maximal profit. I call it the hyper-profit model. Private equity owners put profit above all other concerns. There's no place for this behavior in our public utilities. How do we know that BCP will follow the private equity hyper-profit playbook? In their limited history of owning public utilities, BCP has demonstrated a poor record serving customers. We've seen billing errors on a large scale, dangerous health violations, and the refusal to disclose relevant data on their customer service record. What are they hiding? BCP's plans to invest as much as $50 million on computer technology for a mere annual savings of $1.2 million a year is outrageous. I'm sure we can expect many more of these attempts to gold plate the rate base to juice up profits. Will BCP pay for the necessary maintenance to operate safely in New Mexico? Or will they squeeze operations and raise rates while ignoring violations so that they can earn hyper profit on the $200 million premium that they have offered as part of their purchase price? You three commissioners are the last line of defense. We rely on you to protect us from predatory monopoly capitalists. And the best way to protect us is to say no now, so we don't end up with an out-of-control corporation concentrating market power and hyper profits at the expense of the people of New Mexico. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, that's it for comments. Do we have anybody in person who has not provided public comment, wishes to provide a public comment? And it seems like we don't have any additional public comments, either online or in person. Well, thank you all for your input and engagement. I think given that we have no further public comment, we can go ahead and adjourn here in a few minutes. I do want to point out that this is not the only opportunity to provide public comments. We also accept public comment during the open meetings, which happen every other Thursday. We'll have a meeting this Thursday. The meetings start at 10 a.m. and our agendas point out the location of the meeting. Okay, so we have one more on motion. Take that from it.
Hello? This is Carolyn Houses. May I provide public comment?
Yes, go ahead with your comment.
Okay. My name's Carolyn Houses. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm Navajo and Taos Pueblo. I consider utilities as one of the basic necessities in modern life. I'm a senior citizen supplementing my monthly Social Security with part-time employment. At present, I would say I am just able to manage my expenses, but it is not within my power to control the rising cost of living, which is at the federal level. Along with my neighbors, I'm very concerned about living within my means. I'm on the budget payment plan with New Mexico Gas and PNM Electric. I am very frugal with my utilities and already follow most of the recommendations to conserve home energy usage. However, I have already received notice that my utilities will increase for the coming cycle. Therefore, I'm very concerned about any company that will provide this necessary service. I am strongly against the privatizing of this service. As people have mentioned, BCP has violated safety, labor, and environmental standards, example given in the state of Louisiana. I favor a public utility gas company, not a private company whose goal, like any other capitalistic company, is to make a profit for its shareholders. In contrast, we need a company that is accountable and responsible to community concerns. I am also concerned about using our finite natural resources. Let us simultaneously develop and use clean energy sources. This commission must do what will benefit New Mexicans in the long term. The present administration's focus is to allow natural resource extraction companies to steamroll ahead without considering the consequences to the common person or to our environment. Do not be fooled by false promises that companies say just to make the deal. Please vote against the acquisition of New Mexico Gas Company by BCP. I concur with those who have spoken before me who are against this acquisition. Let us not capitulate to pressures to go along with the forces presently in power at the national level. We love our neighbors, our land, and the beauty of our lives. Let us find people-inspired solutions that will keep us safe and will keep New Mexico enchanted. Thank you for your time.
So, once again, on your last opportunity to pledge comment, we accept comment during our regular open meetings. And having no further comment online or in person, we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank you for coming.